Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. This is RCB, aka Rocket Catchin' Bob, and today I have a lot to go over with you. We're going to start with PIRS, which was the #1 gainer, which may have set the tone for the entire rest of the week, and also show you guys like 3 or 4 swing trades that I really believe in that could actually make a nice push here in the coming days. So let's start out with PIRS and just kind of go through this. So first things first, this thing gapped up from 187 all the way to 250s, 258 to be exact. And then it kind of just fluctuated with no volume, nothing really crazy going on. But I want to just kind of give you guys, some support and resistance lines just to start out and show you what I seen at pre-market and why this may have ran the way it did. So first things first, let's just do a support line where you can see here the bottom before the open is right around this area of about 222 to 220s area. And the resistance, if you want to just, put it at high a day, you got a good idea that's around 258. So I'm going to just put it here for now. And we can stick with that. So I'm going to go a little further back, look at the year, and see what's going on there. So you can see it made a big move today. What I need to do first is actually add the studies. Let me put SMAs back on here so you can see what I'm talking about. So if you look at this chart, you'll see that there is a 200 SMA that is crucial to the daily resistance or support. And anytime you see this, you can really rely on it to be a very difficult area to get through or either a very great area to buy a support. So in this instance, this 200 is the blue line here. That was right around this area at about 259 earlier this morning. It's kind of popped up a little bit just because the stock's now, over 379s. It's actually at 420s here in after hours. But check this out. 258, 259 is pretty much where that 200 is sitting at. And we knew that this morning. So if you look kind of where this is actually stopped, or it kind of got, where it couldn't get any further this morning, it's right here, 258, 259, which is just crazy to see, right? It just shows you how much you can really respect that 200 SMA on the daily. You can use it for the weekly. I like to use it for the daily also. Those are the two best areas to be using that SMA on. We'll kind of go back through this at open. And at open, it kind of spiked up a little bit to 233, which was Vwap. But then it kind of get held back. And the biggest thing here that makes this bullish is you can see when it did actually kind of get rejected by Vwap, when it came down to this area, it consolidated. It didn't drop down. It didn't panic out. It didn't, do anything else. It just kind of went sideways. And then, again, that's kind of like that first bullish look to it. And then it pops back up, it breaks to 230s, and it just makes some higher lows. And you can see that, it makes a new higher low here. So 235, and we already know, like, hey, that 200 is going to be tough, right? When it gets up to that area, it's going to have to fight. It's probably not going to just break right through it. And we kind of discussed this on our Twitch stream live, that, when we get to that area, that you shouldn't expect it just to pop right through it and just go. It really is that big of a resistance that you'll see a lot of consolidation. You're going to see a lot of like war between bears and bulls trying to hold it down, a lot of sellers coming in and so forth. So when it did actually make that push to 260 to 263, it was actually a little bit over that 200, but you can see it consolidated. It kept getting wicks. It kept getting sells. Even here, when you actually got this big volume candle to try to break it out, it still rejected. And it kind of came back down. So after that, we saw it kind of sit right back down here, right above Vwap. I'm going to show you a couple things here. So let's look at the 5-minute just because it's a little cleaner to see. And it's easier to kind of read the chart this way. Anytime you're having problems kind of reading the 1-minute or you don't see it as clearly, I would switch to the 5. It's just a little bit easier to see. If you look at this chart where it kind of pulled back to that Vwap, you see here on this candle where it actually tried to pull down a little further But if you look down here, the candle is pretty normal. It's not above average or anything. It's not like this size, or it's not glowing green. You can see that people just didn't panic out of it. And it actually held, and it made a nice pop back up to 280s. And then it came back and it made a higher low here, which is amazing. Just because, you know, it's, again, more of a bullish, identifier kind of thing. When you see stuff like this where it gets that new low off that consolidation period, and it doesn't break down or have a lot of volume down to that side or down to the downside, and it pops up and gets a higher low, that's pretty bullish to me. I love to see that. It gives me an idea that, hey, maybe this is not done yet. Maybe it's going to make another push later. And it does actually make that push again to this 290s to $3. Bear with me. Go back to the one. Let's go back to the 1 year. I was also talking about the $3 mark being a heavy resistance, just because, you know, every time it's tried to break through that area, it has really struggled. If you look back at, this is the daily, so if you look at $3 here, it tried to use it as support back in 813. So that's like almost a year ago. And it tried to hold it and then used it as resistance and got a lot of wicks. And then, of course, it came back to this area at $3, and it just had more troubles again, and so forth. So I like that it's a whole psychological number. I like to see that it has had those issues, because that's going to tell me that when it gets up to that point, it's going to be a good target area to take some profits, if not, most of the profits out of it, just in case it does decide to kind of fail to break that. And today, you actually saw that it got right to 293s, to 295s, and it just could not break it. It could not actually just squeeze and get to that level. But then later in the evening, it actually pushes that $3. And this is something we've seen a lot of in this market. We've seen a lot of like fake outs or ascending triangles or just pattern setups that lead to a big kill candle. So this candle here actually should have killed all the momentum, right? And it's something we've seen a lot of. And what I want to tell you guys is, when you see this kill candle not work, the momentum stays, and you see some more bullish action later, that could ignite future plays. So I want to show you this too. So after it broke this, or it did this kill candle, and it broke all the way back down, it came to Vwap again, all the way back down to 270s, which is pretty much where it, kind of almost double bottomed or had that higher low earlier. And that kill candle didn't kill it. It actually held here again. Same thing, okay? Same thing. We got some consolidation here in this area, like earlier, and it broke underneath it. And when it broke underneath it, there wasn't a huge candle down to the downside. It didn't just give up, right? It actually fought, and what it do? It had another higher low, just like similar from the beginning. So later, it pushed back up. It went to the $3 mark, and everyone who was kind of short in this position, maybe they shorted after this kill candle because they're like, hey, you know what? 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 out of 10 lately, things have just faded out and just completely got stomped out on the bulls, that they've taken it down 10-20% from the kill candle. Well, today's a little different, and unfortunately, bears got caught up in this. Maybe they shorted it, they got roughed up here, they didn't even have a chance to get out. The higher low came in. If they didn't cover their position here at the 280s, all that happened was they just got kind of stuck in it more. I kind of see here, right here in this area, where they may have reshorted it because they're like, hey, we're so close to the high of day, I want to risk off this 3s. And maybe they reshorted it being super aggressive. And then, of course, what happened later is it really took off. After 3, and this is at 3:20 in the afternoon or 3:15, where I told you guys, hey, this is a good area that people are coming back into the market, and they want to get more plays, and they're looking for the top gainer, or they're looking for something that's setting up. And this actually made a nice push. I mean, this is just really, really beautiful. From 3s all the way to about 450s. That's 50% gain in literally an hour. 50% gain. That's what the stock market can do for you. I know we're not playing them perfect or anything, but the potential of making anything 10%, 20% is crucial to your accounts. So I just want to let you guys know that that happened today, and there was definitely some potential even to scalp it in after hours. Maybe you wanted to play like ascending triangle look here, and play off this. Maybe you got $4 or 390s, and you were able to scale into 450s. Maybe you waited on it to come back down to this previous breakout area, and you kind of had this in mind where you bought 390s and then you scalped it up to 430s. I mean, this thing is still setting up to really push that 450s here. So it's not over yet. And I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I'm so excited that we finally see a play. It's really pushed further after a kill candle. It hasn't given up. It just shows me there's going to be possibly another play after this. So be prepared. If you see a kill candle in the next coming days, be prepared to maybe look for some dips on it, or maybe look for that that higher low that sets up off of it, just like this, so you can take advantage of that. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna go over a couple of my swing trades that I'm looking at right now that I actually think have a great potential. I talked about AHT in a few videos ago. It was kind of one of the swing trades we talked about. So if you guys are in this, congratulations. It still looks like it has more room. It was down at 296, and it's made a nice push over. Let me show you guys the daily real quick. So just remember this area, 335 to about 340s. And then let's look at that on the daily. So if you look at it, this is kind of what I'm foreseeing, I guess. This is kind of something I drew out. But if you look at this, you see that you have this wedge on the daily, right? It's pretty much here at 340s. If you look at where I'm drawing my line, but I'm not gonna show you. I'm not gonna click that line. But 340s is kind of where that line is. And if you got in somewhere where I think we were talking about it on the video, it's somewhere around $3, maybe 290s area, something like that. And now we're making that break off the daily. We're getting more volume, which is a really good sign. And I'm expecting this to go somewhere around, 360s to $4. I hope, up to the $5 resistance line, but that's kind of where we are right now. So again, let's go back to the daily. We actually bought some more on a dip earlier today on Twitch. We were live streaming this. We saw this go from 328s all the way to 365s. When it dipped back down to this area about 337, 338, that was an area that we were talking about adding into because, I'm already in low from like $3. I'm okay with averaging up, knowing that, 315 average is still a really good spot to be in. So we'll see if this kind of continues. I'm hoping that tomorrow will be more of a consolidation day. Maybe even we push 365s. Maybe we can go to 4s. That'd be great. But I'm hoping for more consolidation and then maybe a push on Thursday or Friday this week. GME, let's go over this. So this is another play that's kind of been setting up for a few days. You can see there's horizontal resistance here right around 190s. So I have this line going horizontal, which is right here, 190s, right? And you can see that it actually pushed over it today. It used it more as a support, and there was a nice little wedge here, and it broke out of that 190s. And of course, I didn't really mark it, but 220s is kind of up next, and that was what I was anticipating off of the daily, which I still think it has more room after that, maybe even to 250s. But that's kind of what I'm looking at, 220s to 250s, maybe like a small little goal on this. So again, 10% to 20%-ish, maybe a little bit more. And the last one, AMC, same idea off the daily here. Nice little wedge, higher lows. It made a nice push. You get the higher low right here. And it's kind of got that horizontal resistance off the daily at 1450s. What happens to it today? 1450s, comes up to it, tries to hold it as a support. Doesn't really hold it that well, but they don't really, stocks that are like $14, $15 don't really hold, like they're a little choppier. They're not as clean. But this one pretty much did the same thing as like GME. Kind of had this wedge, broke back out of it, had some higher lows, and then bang, here we go. We got a nice little uptrend going on, and we're here in after hours, and then we're up, from 1450s to 17s. So even if you're not a day trader, maybe you're a swing trader, there are some great plays out there that are setting up for the next couple days, and I hope you guys can take advantage of these. If you guys are watching the videos here on YouTube, you're kind of ahead of the game. just because not everyone watches my stream and not everyone watches my YouTube. So, of course, this is going to benefit you. So if you think that this video has helped you, please leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel here. Turn on notifications. Again, if you don't know, we stream Monday through Friday on twitch.tv. You can just search my name here, Rocket Catching Bob, over on Twitch. You can find me that way. Or you can look in the link below in the description, and I'll leave it there for you guys. Thank you guys so much for checking us out, and I'll see you on the next video.